Good afternoon and welcome back, ladies, gents and Pikachu, to another analysis and breakdown of the Quran of the Muslims! But it's going to be a little bit different today. Before I start, as I always do, I'm going to tell you now, if you have any doubts as to my factual accuracy or the claims I'm going to make, please first buy and read one of these and you'll realise that everything I'm going to say is true. So, the reason why I'm making this impromptu replacement video for episode 56, because in my grace and wisdom and mercy, when I was being mind controlled by Allah, I fucking accidentally gave you two 55s and deleted 56 without uploading it. So I'm going to redo 56 now. But just to make sure you love it even more than the original 56, I'm going to put even more juice into it because I will not be defeated by mind controlling Allah. No. So, the episode before, we'd finished him going through his threats to the non-believers and, you know, kind of between the lines threatening his actual believers. And the end result was everyone else bad, Muslims good, but Muslims actually quite bad sometimes, and that's why Allah angry, everyone dead. Apart from if you worship him enough, right, and give him all your money. So that's where we got up to. So now Allah is telling his Muslims how to speak to the non-believers outside their gates to make sure that they are doing what they're supposed to be doing and they're not, you know, disobeying him. This is his Muslims. So, his Muslims say, Allah can read minds and see all futures. Allah knows everything. Nothing can be hidden from him. He knows all on the heaven and earth. He controls all outcomes and paths. Of course he does. So, the reason why Allah of the Muslims is saying this is because he's trying to convince these non-believers why they should leave their religions when they seem to be doing really fucking well. They've got a huge kingdom in Israel. They have loads of money and wealth. Their technology has accelerated from being desert dwellers like 5 minutes ago when they escaped as Egypt's slaves, right? So they started off being slaves using sticks and having water come out of the ground. Now they have technology so amazing, Allah mistakenly thinks there are demons helping them make magic. It's not, it's just technology. But anyway, that's why the Muslims are now outside the gate of Israel trying to convince them that no, Allah's real. Guys, what are you doing? Stop being so successful. You've got to be like us. You have to live in tents and shag 7-year-olds, and you have to not do magic because we can't do it. So you have to do what we're doing. So what he says is Allah reads minds and sees all futures. But as we know, Allah cannot read minds, even though he makes the claim several times that he can read minds. The fact is, if he could read minds and see all futures, then he wouldn't give people branching paths when he was making his threats. I.e., he says, don't speak to those naughty Jews and Christians, O Muslims, otherwise I will do this. So if you could see the future and you could read minds, you wouldn't say, do this, or if you don't do this, I'll do this, and then if you don't do this, I'll do this. You know? You would just say, this is going to happen, and you wouldn't even bother making a threat because you predicted the future. So we know Allah doesn't read minds, Allah doesn't see the futures, although he likes to think that he does. The evidence is there. Oh yeah, and Taluth in the desert, he was like, only those who worship only Allah will see victory in their battles. And then promptly his battle guy went away and didn't win any battles. And David from Israel, who has never worshipped Allah, fucking hates Allah and worships another god, i.e. worships Yahweh, he came out and slew Goliath. So how do you explain that, Allah? If you can read minds, see all futures, you know all, and nothing can be hidden from you, how did you get that so wrong? You said Taluth was going to kill Goliath. He didn't. You said your insurgents were going to invade Israel and win. They didn't. And you said that that was going to lead to them recovering this magical relic, the Ark of the Covenant, which it fucking didn't. So 3 times, you got it wrong. You can't read minds, see futures, and you can't see what's hidden from you. You don't know all, Allah. That's a fact. So that's the end of that, and we move on. So we reach verse 30, where he says, on Judgment Day, every non-believer will be faced with the heavy cost upon them for their great sins, and Allah will claim their lives for his own. Allah is full of mercy for those who believe, but terrible sorrow, pain, and regret for he who did not obey him. So, I think when we break this down, Allah is getting angry now because he's sent his guys over to Israel to go, Allah, just stop what you're doing. Allah, do Quran of the Muslims. Worship. Do this, guys. And the Israel people and their friends, the Christians, are looking at them going, we're not doing that shit. Fuck off. So they've got rid of them. And Allah's caught wind of this. So he's like, I will not be offended. And he's like making a point to his Muslims, because that's who he's talking to. So to his Muslims, he says, I'm going to kill those non-believers on Judgment Day. They're going to be faced with a heavy cost for this, insulting me like that, not worshipping me. How dare they say that my worship's nonsense and all my stuff doesn't work? So that's what's happening here. And then he says, a heavy cost will be upon them for their great sin, you know, of not being a Muslim and doing the Quran worship. And Allah will claim their lives for his own. So this is like the war cry bit. Allah will claim their lives for his own. He's telling his Muslims, those guys are fucking dead later. How dare they do this? How dare they not worship me? I'll fucking kill them. That's what he's doing. And then he gets to the last line of verse 30, which is, he is full of mercy for those who believe. You'll be okay, pet Muslims. I'll give you mercies, but those guys are fucking cool. They never get any mercy. That's what he's saying here. They're going to get sorrow, pain, and regret because they didn't obey me. So the rest of their lives could be great. They could have great lives, but when it comes down to it, at the end, they're going to get regret. They're going to get sorrow and pain from me, Allah, in the book. That's what this means. 31. This is still Muslims outside Israel trying to convince them that Allah is real. Say to the Israel people, O Muslims, say, what is your plan to eradicate Allah's enemies? Where is your love for Allah? Your passion to harm his avowed foes? How will you make his jihad for the annihilation of non-believers happen? Huh? Where's your love for Allah? This is so ridiculous, but I love it. So the Muslims are outside the gates of Israel and they're going, but you must obey Allah. Where is your love for Allah? Why don't you want to eradicate yourself? Because they're the enemies of Allah. Why don't you want to kill yourself, Israelis? And by the way, how will you, Israel, help us complete our holy jihad, which is to destroy you and your kingdom, as Israel? How will you help us in our jihad for the total annihilation of the non-believers, which is you? How? End of verse. So what's happening here? I don't think this is real. I actually think this is a made up. There's no way anyone in their right mind, even if they're brainwashed slaves of a cult maniac like the Muslims are, there is no way they are going to approach the kingdom of Israel when they're a tiny group with rubbishy, crappy weapons and no technology. They're going to go over to this huge walled city with cool technology and a huge army and a really powerful, intelligent king. They're going to take their little band of raiders over there, look through the window and see all the magic and stuff that's going on. Well, it's technology, but they think it's magic. Knock on the drawbridge, and then when the drawbridge opens, they're going to go, where's your love for Allah? Why aren't you killing yourselves? Where is your plan to eradicate the non-believers, which is you? Why don't you want to do the jihad that Allah has told us all to do? Huh? Because if they did that, A, they're going to be in quite a bad bit of danger, because even though Israel are nice, when you have a bunch of guys at your door saying they have a jihad for you, they're going to kill you, 50-50, you're flipping a coin here, jihadis, that you're going to get annihilated yourself immediately, not by God, by the fucking Israelis. They're going to kill you for turning up and insulting them like that. But I don't think they do. I think they just go, just shut the drawbridge, man. Just fucking ignore those guys. So they shut the drawbridge and they leave the jihadis outside. And the jihadis are not happy about this. And they turn to Allah. Allah says again in verse 32, obey only Allah and his Prophet Muhammad. All who disobey this advancement or choose to flee, Allah shall reject them all. Allah loveth not the cowards who disband, and he will add them as fuel for his fire to burn forever. End of verse. So if we break this down, this is the last final bit of his telling the Muslims to shout through the trapdoor of Israel, through the drawbridge, to the Israelis. And what he's doing is, obey only Allah and his Prophet. How dare you? Allah will kill you for this disobeyment of his advancement. That means his advancement to the jihad, so making babies and killing Jews. And then the last thing he says is, anyone who chooses to flee or doesn't want to do this, Allah will reject them all. Do you get that? So Allah is literally saying, if you don't agree with my jihad, guys, or if you agree with it and then you lose heart and you flee, you are dead. And the reason is because Allah loveth not the cowards who disband, who run away from their people. He will add them as fuel to his fire. So Allah is literally telling you Muslims here, if you don't do exactly what you're told, or if you at any point have a doubt and you run away a little bit, and if you don't want to get killed for him, he will pick you up like a lump of coal, lob you on the fire where you will burn forever, and he will just ignore you. He doesn't care about you at that point. He loveth you not. So I think we know by this point, this whole page, even though he's talking with his Muslims, telling them to say this to the Israelis, this whole page is him threatening his Muslims to not leave. This is the apostasy law origins, if you like. So anyway, he does that. He tells them they're going to burn forever. They, oh, okay then, and they don't run away. They continue with his stupid jihadi, which is a suicide mission by all accounts. And then we move on to 33. Allah favoured amongst all his people, his prophets, Adam, Noah, Abraham and his sons. Also the family of Imran above all people. Offspring one from the other of the same blood. Allah hears and knows all things and will be begging for all you do. No, forgiving all you do with one another into his service. So, that's end of verse, end of reading. But I've put the last two verses, 23 and 24 together, or 33 and 34 together. And the reason I've done that is because it actually, even though it's split into two in the book, it should be one verse. And the reason is, Allah favoured amongst all his people for his prophets. And then he names a bunch of prophets. So he starts with Adam, who's the oldest one. Then Noah, who is the next oldest one. Then Abraham and his sons, who are the next oldest ones, including Jacob, who makes Israel. And then he says, oh yeah, and above all those guys, Imran, this guy called Imran and his family, they're going to be prophets. And you think, who the fuck's Imran? I never heard of this Imran guy before. I've heard of Adam, Noah, Abraham and his sons. They are Torah prophets. That's why we know that they're actual real prophets, because we've got recorded history and factual evidence of them being prophets. But if Imran and his family are all above. So what Allah, or whoever wrote this book pretending to be Allah, has done is they've read out of another book, right, these guys are all prophets. This is the order they lived in. You know, Adam, Noah, Abraham and his sons. They're all prophets that Allah favours. Also the family of Imran and his family and his sons. And you think, who the fuck's Imran? He's never been a prophet. And Imran is a guy who was a powerful Muslim. He was like a king of a Malik of a Muslim country. And what happened is when he was collecting the different parts of Quran, when it didn't used to be a whole book that was written by Allah that was universal, when it was just scraps of stuff strewn about the place, Imran collected a lot of these. And in order that he could add himself on and be the most favoured people above all and his family, he set to the task of burning all the other Qurans that didn't have this in it and agree with this. So he made his copies that says at the end, Imran is the highest of all people, and then burnt all the other ones. So I think, although it's not expressly described in here, Imran is a person who has corrupted the original Quran. Not only that, his corrupted Quran has become the standard one. So this is from now onwards in the Quran. During Surah 2, the rest of Surah 2, I think, is corrupted and shouldn't be part of the Quran. But it is. Muslims will cut my head off for having said that. Ooh. Oh, I'm being mind-controlled, Muslim. So remember that. This is the will of Allah. If you cut my head off, you'll be stopping me from revealing the truth about your book. And you will be bad Muslims. Bad Muslims. Bad Muslims. Don't do that. So anyway, that's that bit. Then we go on to the next bit where God is now, not God, Allah is telling Imran how he's going to have a great people because he's a king of a country, he's got a load of people already, but there needs to be some bit in here that tells us that he was the progenitor of his people, right? So that's why Imran and Imran and his family are above all people, even Adam, Noah, Abraham, his sons. Now that they're above all people, they need to make a kingdom. How they do that? He says, offspring from one to another of their same blood, Allah hears and knows all things that will be forgiven of all you do with one another in my service. So what this means is, and this, I'm glad this went last because this is kind of, it's like disgusting, but it's funny. Allah is saying to Imran to make offspring Imran, take one from another of the same blood. You get me? So Imran is being instructed by Allah, don't go away and find genetic diversity with other people who might have good, healthy sons. Allah, in his grace and wisdom and mercy, is directly saying here, in two different things, take one from another. So he's saying, don't take of other people or other cultures or foreigners at all. Stay with your Muslims that you already know. And of their same blood. So he's saying, I'd rather you shag your sister and mother and had babies that way than with those filthy fucking Jews and Christians over there, and those guys we're going to kill. So don't shag them, is what Allah is saying. Don't have any ideas about sleeping with these guys or having babies with them. You can have them as prisoners of war, but don't have babies with them because they'll be worthless. Only have babies with mothers, sisters, cousins, that kind of thing. Because I'm saying to you, and I quote one from another, of their same blood. And just so you know, Allah is between the lines inferring that this is a horrific, disgusting act by saying, Allah hears and knows things that you do, so he's going to be seeing you doing these disgusting inbreeding acts of sexual perversion and will be forgiving of all you do with one another into his service. So he's saying, even though it's disgusting for the rest of the world to sleep with their mothers, sisters and cousins, you're allowed to do it, O Muslims, so long as you're making babies for the service of Allah and furthering the holy jihad, which in the end is going to result in his end times genocidal prophecy being upheld and all the Jews, Christians, atheists and pagans off with the head being dead and Muslims being the winner. That's how that goes. So that's 56, what should have been 56. If I hadn't have uploaded 55 twice, that would have been 56. Then we go on to the bit that we have a video for already. Behold, Imran commanded his wife into Allah's ways. So go back and watch the last video if you want the whole page of this. But the summary of this whole page is this. Imran, now after having been commanded to do all these sexual perversions, he gets his wife pregnant and he's expecting a son because they all want sword-swinging sons that can go and kill lots of Jews. You know, that's a valuable baby there, a man who can kill Jews. Unfortunately for Imran and his poor wife, they don't get a jihadi. What they get is a little baby girl. And God says, brother, what is this disgusting little sinful, evil baby girl? She's no good to anyone. Oh, for goodness sake, I'll bless you anyway. So he blesses the mother and the child. And how he blesses the child and the mother is like this. Don't worry, mother of child. I'll bless you to have many more sons in future. Don't worry about it. Just keep having more babies, more babies. Get that production line of babies going. And then you'll finally have lots of sons who can go and do the jihadi stuff. That's how you're blessed, oh mother. Then he turns to the baby and he says, this evil daughter who I just was slagging off a minute ago and saying was evil, I'm going to make her blessed as well. And the way she's going to be blessed is, even though she's an evil woman and she's useless, I'm going to bless her to be a bountiful plant pot. So if she stays at home and you keep sleeping with her every single day, Imran, even though she's 1 day old, that's explicitly in the text. If you do that and you keep sleeping there every single day, I will eventually give you a magical son. You know, a progeny who will make the world good again. You will get this magical prodigy son in your belly, or womb is what it should say. And then you will be a prophet, O Imran, and your wife will be blessed, O Imran, even though she's just your slave at the moment. And then graciously did her Lord accept her and gave her beauty and loyalty, because remember before that she was ugly and not loyal. She was just some evil woman who could be just kicked around the room like and no value. And then what happened is this 1 day old baby is made a gift to Zachariah. Off you go, Zachariah. Here's a piece of baby for you. Take this piece of baby, make it into more pieces of babies. Try and make those pieces of babies men so they can kill Jews. Otherwise, they're just not going to be much worth. And Zachariah did pray to his Lord and say, now grant me sons to which will become pure and worship and fierce to battle. Allah was to build his sons as warriors. And that's how it ends, with Zachariah trotting off with his 1 day old wife. That's literally how it's described. Zachariah has married Mary. At this point in the story, Mary is 1 day old. And I feel like that is, well, I can't say any more than I've already said on it. Look, children are children. You don't marry off children, especially when they're 1 day old. Especially not when Allah is commanding you to use this child to make babies for you to have jihadis with. So once again, Allah, in your Quran of the Muslims, you have scuppered yourself in the eyes of moral, decent people by making sure not only do your Muslims think that having 1 day old wives is okay and then forcing them to have constant babies until they have enough men for you to make jihadis out of, you also inferred that women are evil when they're born. The 1 day old baby is evil and the product of Satan's madness and sin. That's 50% of your people there, Allah, you're talking about. So you're telling me that 50% of your whole population, all the women, are evil and bad and born in sin. And the only way they can recover from this is to be a factory of jihadi babies for you. So let me tell you, when you're reading this propaganda that the Islamis put out, oh, Jews kill babies, Jews hate babies, they don't want any military targets. No, they're solely looking to kill little babies. They couldn't care less about terrorists. They don't even know where the terrorists are. They don't even look for the terrorists. They just look for babies so they can kill them. Now we know where that comes from. They're trying to cover up their own disgusting perversions in this book, the Quran of the Muslims, in which Allah tells the mother of Mary, who is a one-day-old baby, give this piece of trash away because she's sinful and evil to someone else as a husband. That's bad enough, being given away as a one-day-old baby as a wife. Then he tells the husband, take this one-day-old baby, sleep with her every single night until she has a baby with you, and then keep doing it until you get more sons. That is Islam, and that's the end of this video. So, hope you enjoyed that and you learnt something. Now we've gone through 56 and 57, as we should have done in today's episodes, but I screwed it up, so now we're caught up to date. Tomorrow we're going to carry on with more Without Lies, Islam Dies, Inane, Illiterate, Paedophile, Warlord Ramblings, and we'll see you then. So, take care, God bless, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now. So, apologies for the break-in service, ladies, gents, and Pikachus. A little bit of confusion there from me, because I stayed up too many nights in a row recording things. But ultimately, watch this, watch the last one before this, and you will be absolutely all caught up, so we can tomorrow get back to Without Lies, Islam Dies, deciphering the inane, paedophilic ramblings of Allah, Mohammed, and friends. So until then, have a good night, God bless you all, and I'll see you lovely, beautiful people in the next one. Bye now. Bye 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 bye.